using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter, though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his way.
If the opportunity presented itself against Floyd, you would have, though, even though you admire him so much and he's so great. But
Floyd, yeah, because
Terence Crawford has officially answered Floyd Mayweather's 2026 fight call-out, and his response was surprisingly positive. Crawford said he's ready to settle the debate once and for all over who deserves the title of boxing's greatest. While Mayweather is more than a decade older, he was the one who pushed for the matchup after growing frustrated with constant comparisons between himself and Crawford.
He played the part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
After his recent victory, Terence Crawford was asked about fans calling for a showdown with Floyd Mayweather, especially now that Floyd himself wants it. Crawford didn't hesitate, saying, "If Floyd wants to fight me, it's great money and a chance to share the ring with one of the greats. So yeah, I'm in."
How do you beat Floyd, though? Like, since nobody's been able to crack that code.
you think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore. So that fight ain't going.
Mayweather was forced to call out Crawford, not just because boxing fans demanded it, but because two of his previous opponents have spoken about Crawford being better than him, which looks like a big insult to the achievement of the boxing legend. Aside from Canelo, Shane Mosley, who lost to Mayweather on points 15 years ago, also echoed the same fact.
I looked at it. He came out in the southpaw stance and he took Canelo's jab away from him. As you know, if you take a fighter's jab away from them, then it's hard for them to really land. You force them to use one shot, and he forced them to use his backhand, his rear hand. Crawford was ready for the loop in the right hand.
Crawford speaking to Fight Hub TV, Mosley sensationally claimed that he believes Bud Crawford is actually better than Mayweather, but does give plaudits to his former rival, who he says was very talented. "I think Crawford is better, bigger, like he's actually moving up in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better all-around fighter. Mayweather's really good, too, though. You can't knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of his long arms and because he's bigger."
It's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather.
I think Crawford is better, bigger. Like he's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around.
Fans and experts around the world have already begun to debate whether Bud can be regarded as the greatest fighter of all time after defeating Canelo, a historic victory that has sent the 37-year-old to the top of the pound-for-pound list once again. Canelo, on the other hand, had made it known before the fight, but after his loss, here emphasized his stance and claimed Crawford was the better of the two. Canelo Alvarez made waves during his post-fight press conference when he declared that Terence Crawford is a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather. "I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather," Canelo said at the post-fight news conference.
And compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
This statement carries particular weight, considering it came from someone who suffered losses to Crawford, as well as Floyd Mayweather. Canelo's willingness to make such a bold claim immediately, after losing, shows either remarkable sportsmanship or genuine belief in the undefeated Crawford's superiority. The Mexican superstar's comments sparked immediate controversy throughout the boxing community. Some supporters pointed to Crawford's willingness to move up multiple weight classes and face a light competition, while others defended Mayweather's perfect record and superior resume. Terence Crawford himself revealed that Alvarez has been in thering with both him and Mayweather. Him saying that Crawford was better was because of his personal experience. Talking on the Ariel Helwani show, this is what he said. "Canelo was in the ring with both of us. People can say what they want, but he's actually been in thering with both of us."
Ready for the body shots. Occasionally the straight right hand to the body will land for Canelo. But, sooner or later, Crawford start getting out of the way of that as well by just pivoting, on the angle and, making Canelo reach. There were spots inside the ring that I saw Crawford.
Ultimately, this debate will rage on because it's a subjective opinion. The objective is that both of these fighters are undefeated, at least for now in Crawford's case, were long-standing champions in several weight classes and will go down as two of the greatest American boxers in the history of the sweet science. However, there's an interesting debate to be had about how Mayweather and Crawford racked up their respective undefeated records. And this is an argument that active boxer Ryan Garcia made during a September 10th segment on Ring Magazine's Inside the Ring show.
You know, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't go off of that. You know, Floyd is the best fighter, you know, in his era.
After a conversation on why Max Kellerman believes that Manny Pacquiao should be above Mayweather on a pound-for-pound ranking of the best boxers this century, in response to ESPN putting Floyd at number 1 and Pacquiao at number 2. In an article earlier this month, former NFL player LaShawn McCoy said, "Nobody has changed the game like Floyd Money Mayweather. In a bad way." "In a bad way," Garcia retorted. Heathen added, "Mayweather mastered the art of knowing when to fight somebody and knowing when not to fight somebody. I mean, he's the best in that game. He's the best at making money and making all the huge fights happen. But why? Because he was timing every single one of them. He never fought anyone really in their prime. Prime after junior lightweight. So, he changed the game in the worst way possible. You're right. Everybody is trying to protect their zero on their record."
It's the game like Floyd Money Mayweather.
He mastered the art of knowing when to fight somebody and when not to fight somebody. I mean, that he's the best in that game. He's the best in, you know, making money and making all the, you know, the huge fights happen. But why? Because he was timing every single one of them. He never fought nobody really in their prime. He always
After junior lightweight. Junior lightweight,
he changed the game in the worst way possible. You're right. Everybody's trying to protect.
Truly, Crawford's recent accomplishments have some people questioning that hierarchy. And the timing couldn't be more perfect for these discussions, as Crawford reaches the absolute peak of his powers while still actively competing at the highest level. Max Kellerman brought his decades of boxing analysis experience to bear when discussing the Crawford versus Mayweather debate on his show, Inside the Ring. The veteran commentator acknowledged that Mayweather possesses certain advantages over Crawford, particularly in terms of resume depth, defensive skills, and hand speed. These technical aspects represent undeniable strengths that made Mayweather one of the most dominant champions in boxing history.
It's wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost him.
However, Kellerman pointed out that Mayweather became increasingly selective about his opponents after leaving the lightweight division. He believed that the carefully timed when he faced certain dangerous fighters. This strategic approach helped preserve Mayweather's undefeated record, but also created questions about his willingness to face all comers during their prime years. Kellerman contrasted this with Crawford's apparent eagerness to fight anyone throughout his entire career, suggesting that this mentality resonates differently with boxing fans and fellow fighters.
I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it.
If you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster, and he had a better defense and all that stuff. Once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. That makes a difference to people. The analyst drew fascinating comparisons between Crawford and legendary fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson and Roy Jones Jr. Kellerman suggested that Crawford has reached a similar level of respect among his peers. This represents the kind of status that transcends record books and statistical comparisons.
A lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who would win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd would win that
yes,
fight.
Yes, sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Despite the fact that boxing fans have severally drawn comparisons between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, Bud refused to deprive the 50 boxing champion of his rightful honors. Terence Crawford appreciates Floyd Mayweather, and when he was asked about their similarities, he had a few more things to say as well. He's the king. Crawford praised and acknowledged Floyd's greatness. He then continued, "We have quite a lot in common in some aspects, but we're a little different because I take more chances." Earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances in his career as well. It just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you're talking about. I mean, you're talking about money, or you're talking about Pretty Boy, because Pretty Boy was the seeking destroyer. Then he started having hand injuries, so he couldn't really keep up with the same power, and he was moving up and fighting bigger.
Excuse me, Crawford.
You know, right now, but earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, you know, it just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you talk about. If you talk about money, or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seeking destroyer.
Like Crawford said, they have quite a lot in common. However, boxing fans and supporters have compared both fighters to discover the better fighter. And when they did, a new source put Crawford as the likely winner of a fight between the two fighters. When it comes to pure boxing ability, you'd be hard-pressed to find another producer of more sweet science masterclasses than Floyd Mayweather Jr. The crisp jab, precision, timing, and counter-punching ability all-empowered Mayweather to pick his long list of opponents apart. And he did it over 2 iterations of himself.
He's got a reach from the left hooks again. He's a lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him, and then he hit his head off the en masse here at the MJ.
Just as Crawford said, Pretty Boy Floyd was the more aggressive boxer, bringing the fight to opponents, while Money Mayweather years later would compute and edge opponents out with brilliant boxing. Whichever style you prefer, both bodies of work made the legend that is Floyd Mayweather Jr. comparatively. Boxing fans are still in awe of what Crawford did to Spence in his last fight.
He drops him again. That's a hard knockdown that time with the left hook. How about that? Keeps battling, falling forward. Uppercut. Terence Crawford has stopped.
Whether it was a power jab that repeatedly snapped through Spence's guard, punching in traffic, or the timing of his counterpunches, Bud exhibited supreme boxing ability. And it wasn't the first time, but we've never seen it like that against a fighter of Spence's caliber. When talking about pure boxing ability, arguably nobody should get a push over Mayweather. But Crawford's style of boxing is different yet effective, even explosive in his own right. So, how would their boxing stack up if Crawford would fight Mayweather in his prime and use his lasering shots against Mayweather's disciplined sweet science? Who would assert the jab first? Who would be the more effective counterpuncher? There are so many ways to see this play out that it might be best to declare this category a draw. Interview 17. How many times have we witnessed Mayweather lull and eventually lure his opponents to the middle of the ring, where he computed information, analyzed it, and uploaded a blueprint to pick his opponents apart? Mayweather took his ring IQ and mantra of hit and not get hit, and essentially rode it to the Hall of Fame as an undefeated 5-division world champion. Crawford, in being crowned undisputed at junior welterweight, and now welterweight, has shown a high ring IQ himself throughout his career.
Had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in a fight between Terence and Floyd, and I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that
Yes,
fight.
sir. I
Floyd
love you, Terence.
always figures it out.
Mayweather demonstrated hand speed, especially on the counter-punching end. But Crawford's slashing angles and whiplashing delivery has Bud owning the